So the other day I realized that I've not done a weekly rotation video in, I don't even know how long, months, years, millennia? It's been a while, so I'm going to do another one. Hey friends, Ash here with Gents. Hope you're doing really well. It's time to go over the 7 fragrances I wore over the past week, so let's go ahead and jump into it and check these out. The weather has been weird, you could say. Some days it'll be in the mid 80s, sometimes even the upper 80s, and then it'll drop down to mid 60s, upper 60s. I have no clue what the weather is doing right now. One day it's like, oh man, this is great pool weather. You know, sun is out, super hot. Yeah, let's stay outside. You wake up the next morning and there's a thunderstorm and it feels frigid. And these fragrances reflect that a little bit. So let's get things kicked off with good old Dior Sauvage Eau de Parfum. The reason that I wore this is I was getting ready to shoot a review for it. I realized that I had not done a review on Sauvage Eau de Parfum and really had barely talked about it at all. So I wanted to rectify that. So that's why I reached for Sauvage Eau de Parfum, and by the time you're watching this, I think that review should already be live on the channel. Everybody knows about Dior Sauvage at this point. Everybody. Yes, even you, person watching this video who's like, have I heard about Dior Sauvage? Yes, you have. It's got ambroxan, but not as aggressively as in the Eau de Toilette. It's not as in your face. It's not as metallic. Yes, it is still metallic, just not as much as the Eau de Toilette. It's a little bit sweeter as well, a little bit warmer, not as much citrus, not as much pepper. At the end of the day, though, it's still Sauvage. So you smell Sauvage Eau de Parfum, and you're like, oh yeah, that's Sauvage. And you smell Sauvage Eau de Toilette, and you go, oh yeah, that's also Sauvage. It's really, the fine details that separate the Eau de Parfum from the Eau de Toilette. Are there differences? Abso-freaking-lutely. Are they massive? Not really. It's like tweaking and twisting and turning and changing the DNA. But ultimately, it's still pretty similar. I like it though. Sauvage Eau de Parfum, I dig it. I know that a lot of people out there, specifically elitists, they don't really dig it, kind of look down their nose at it, but I think it's really good. Super versatile, wear it anywhere, anytime, people are gonna love it. Next up, something completely different from Guerlain, Eau de Cologne Imperial. You'll notice that my bottle is over halfway used. There's a big dent in it. The reason for that is this does not have good performance. It doesn't last very long, it doesn't project very heavily, but it's not that type of fragrance, so who cares? This one was made in the 1800s, so we're throwing it back a bit. Dior Sauvage Eau de Parfum, really, really modern. This, not so much. But guess what? Even if it's really old, really, really old, it smells freaking great. This is absolutely in my wheelhouse of stuff that I love. It's citrus, it's lemon verbena, it's fresh, it's green, it's bright, it's realistic, and it doesn't really cost that much from discounters. So that's good too. It is an eau de cologne, but it's not like they're trying to hide that from you. It says right there, eau de cologne. So I mean, if you expect this to have great performance, that's on you. But if you know what you're getting into, this is just absolutely killer, stunning, fantastic, mind-blowing, whatever you want to call it, on a very, very hot summer's day. And we had approximately one of those over the past week. So then things started to drop a little bit in temperature, and I went with this one, Boss Bottled Tonic. Now this is still very much a spring, summertime, daytime fragrance. It's better in high heat situations than it is in low heat situations, but it has a little more oomph than the last one we talked about. Don't mistake that for me telling you this is a great performer. It's not. I just said it has more performance than an eau de cologne, okay? This is Boss Bottled, but stay with me here, fresh. It still got that apple, still has that cinnamon from the original Boss Bottled, only here that's dialed down a little bit. You still get that apple pie kind of feeling, but that's no longer the main focus of the scent. Really, for me, what pulls me into this is all the citrus and the ginger in here. It really livens things up. It gives it a nice sparkle. And that coloration of the fragrance, I think, goes a long way into telling you how this one comes across. It's great for casual days where you're just kind of hanging out, lounging around. It's office safe as well. Bottle tonic, very good. After that, I went with the Soft Lawn from Imaginary Authors. Yeah, kind of out of left field, a little bit different. Notes for this one are on the back: linden blossom, laurel and ivy leaves, vetiver oak moss, fresh tennis balls, and clay court. I love imaginary authors. I've talked in the past on this channel about that. I've got all of their releases. Not all of them, but most of them. I think I'm only missing 2. And one of the ones that I'm missing is the Soft Lawn. And I've been seeing a lot of advertisement about that on Instagram. So I wanted to go back and wear this one, the original. Now there's the Soft Lawn 2.0, which hopefully I'll get to check out and smell soon, and we'll see how that one goes. Now with this one, when you very first spray it on, it's kind of like something like that when you very first spray it on, and it just has this really astringent green feeling in the initial blast, but I really am talking there just the first minute or so. After that, it settles down into a fantastic green scent with this very interesting take on a fresh tennis ball note, which is supposed to smell like you opened up a can of tennis balls and stuck your nose down in there and huffed it. You get a good amount of linden blossom in here, some ivy as well, a touch of vetiver as it dries down. It's a great springtime scent, and where it wasn't all that warm over the past week, or at least after the initial part of the week, I decided to bust that one out. And I'm glad I did. I still love that fragrance, and it takes me back to years ago when I first got that bottle. After that, I went with this one, Vetiver Sensual from Mancera. This is one of my favorite wearable vetiver fragrances that I own right now. I wear this whenever I can get a chance. I know it doesn't look like I put a big dent in this yet, but I have worn this a number of times. Really good atomizer, and I'm gonna spray it on right now. Woo! See that? That's nice. This is vetiver for everyone and anyone, essentially. But even though it is in that approachable, easy to wear style, it still has enough to it, enough going on, enough depth that somebody that smelled, thousands of fragrances can smell that and go, woo, this is good, this is nice. Now, I'm a man that loves vetiver in just about all its forms, okay? So I like me a dirty vetiver, I like me a clean vetiver. I don't know what that is, actually. It's like a cowboy that likes vetiver. I guess that's what that was. But I like vetiver in any way that you can kick it to me, all right? You got a Haitian vetiver, I'll take it. You got a Javanese vetiver, I'll take it. You got a bourbon vetiver, I'll take it. You got a vetiver where you don't tell me what it is, you just say, hey, it's a vetiver, I'll take it. What I'm trying to tell you is that I'm a fan of vetiver, and I'm not picky. I like all vetiver. So as long as you do it well, I'm gonna like it. So Vetiver Sensual, fresh, clean, a little bit sweet, bunch of citrus off the top, nice big citrus combination, a little bit of florals in the mid. It is a fantastic scent. Spring, summer, fall, maybe even winter. Yeah, that one, killer. And by the way, if you happen to buy Vetiver Sensual from twistedlily.com, make sure to use the code right here, Gents10. After the Mancera, I went with this one, In New York by Van Cleef & Arpels. When this first came out, I was disappointed. But let me explain that disappointment for you just really quickly. Van Cleef & Arpels made a fragrance that maybe you've heard of called Midnight in Paris. And it looks like this. I'm too lazy to go grab my bottle. It looks like this. It looks fantastic. Unfortunately, it didn't really sell very well or much at all at retail stores. But at discounters, you could buy Midnight in Paris for 20 bucks, even less. So that was a fragrance I loved and countless other people loved. It was one of the best cheap fragrances that you could buy. You got the whole package there. Bottle, amazing. Fragrance, amazing. Deal, amazing. Then Van Cleef & Arpels discontinued it. Midnight in Paris, gone. Then there started to be some rumblings online. Oh, they're coming out with a new fragrance and they're gonna call it Midnight in New York. They even had pictures on the different forums of a bottle that looks similar to Midnight in Paris, only with reworked graphics. And Midnight in New York turned out to not ultimately be a thing. The fragrance they came out with was just in New York. Now, not for nothing, but Midnight in Paris's presentation, the bottle looked, like I said, like this. And then In New York came out and it looked like this. Wowzers, look at that presentation. It's square and it has writing on it, and that's it. So to say that people were underwhelmed when this came out, a bit of an understatement just as far as the bottle goes. And then the fragrance is just a sort of blue fragrance. Midnight in Paris was dark and balsamic and a little bit sweet and had all these different facets going on. And then this one came out and it smelled kind of like Gucci Guilty Intense with a slight dash of Bleu de Chanel. Now I know to a bunch of people out there, you say Gucci Guilty Intense with a dash of Bleu de Chanel. That doesn't sound bad at all. That actually sounds pretty good. And I would say for a lot of people, yeah, that is pretty good. But with Midnight in Paris being axed and with how much people love that, and this is what everybody got afterwards, there was a lot of disappointment. And that still carries over to today. Now, if you can put all that out of your mind, you can just kind of, Midnight in Paris, get out of my brain. I don't want to think about you anymore. If you can get rid of that and just approach this as being a very affordable, because it is at discounters when it's available there, very affordable blue fragrance that's extremely versatile, that's gonna help you get positive attention from people, compliments as they say, then there's a lot to like here. So Van Cleef & Arpels in New York, even though it was disappointing when it came out, is nowadays kind of a sleeper, under the radar, cheapy compliment puller. Yeah, that's a lot of things kind of piled in there to call in New York, but that's what it is. Last but not least, on the coolest day of them all, Velvet Patchouli by Dolce & Gabbana. I also have Velvet Wood, Velvet Bergamot, and Velvet Vetiver on top of this one, Velvet Patchouli. It's a lot of velvet. This is part of Dolce & Gabbana's private line, or their more exclusive line of fragrances. They have really nice presentations. Most of them I have in this 50 ml size, and then the Velvet Vetiver one I have in Godzilla King Kong size, or actually just 150 milliliters. I guess it doesn't say King Kong size, just 150 mils. Found this at Fragrance Net, I believe, for $70. So it was one of those times where it's like, hey, sure, why not? Now I love fragrances that have patchouli in them, and when I say that, I don't mean patchouli just hanging out, mingling with a bunch of other notes. Patchouli just like, hey man, how's it going? Vanilla, what's up? Tonka, how's it going, brother? No. I want patchouli that's in there like it's in a mosh pit, okay? I want the patchouli coming out just, throwing elbows, destroying everything, slamming heads together. Patchouli, just like right at the front, in your face. That's what I want. Now I understand most people, they don't want that patchouli coming at them that forceful. It's a little bit intimidating. And you don't want to smell like a dirty hippie, I guess. This one has a bit of that patchouli funk to it. I love it. As soon as you spray this one on, it's kind of a green patchouli. It's got that earthiness to it. As it dries down, though, it becomes more an ambery patchouli, so you get some warmth in there, get some sweetness in there. Helps contrast the patchouli a little bit. So that's, taking it, reining it in some, but it still maintains that semi-aggressive patchouli that I love so much. So that's when I reach for when it was cold outside. Once it starts to heat up, your opportunities to wear fragrances like this are few and far between until you hit fall again. So I went with this. So there we are, my weekly rotation, just a bunch of random stuff that I figured I'd go over with you guys. And let me know in the comments, guys, the fragrances that you've been wearing over the past week or so. Has it been super hot where you are? Weird weather like here? What's going on? As always, thanks for hanging out with me today. Thanks for all your support. Stay safe out there. See you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.